So the answer, thanks for the answer. World Ablaze is more playable in that regard. Yes, definitely. I like Road to 56. I like Road to 56 as well. It has a cool tech tree, and I think 56 is better for playing minors. But if you want to play as one of the majors, then World Ablaze. Did I read that right, or does it really let the colonies build units? Yes, it does. The way it works is it basically just hits... Oh, what's the system called? It's in vanilla. Reichskommissariats. It basically subdivides Africa into Reichskommissariats automatically. Which is powerful. They're a very, very, very weak form of puppet. But the reason they are still really, really useful is because they will have access to their own focus tree, which includes their own access to industry focuses. So you can actually become much, much stronger by building Reichskommissariats, or colonies in this, because they will industrialize, and because they're a puppet, they will give a fraction of that industry to you. Right, I was going to look at different forms of recon. Scout cars versus light tanks versus motorized. What's going to be best for the Alpine divisions? Armored gives quite a lot more soft attack. Tiny bit more defense. It will use fuel. Versus scout cars. So these two provide the most recon. Motorized recon and cavalry recon really aren't very good. You want to have one of these two. So what's the main difference here? Mountain movement, hill movement plus 10. Mountain movement, hill movement plus 10. So that's identical. You have less movement in the desert and in the forest than the tanks, interestingly. Tanks are basically just a better version of the armoured car. We'll go with the tank recon. And then I was thinking like heavy support artillery or something. That actually just reduces your organisation. Let's not. Okay, so my Alpine divisions should now be pretty strong, except for the fact that you don't have the tanks. I can build L7s, can't I? L3s, that'll do. Gonna do this just so that... we have the tanks for the recon. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to get rid of you. We'll build a new one later. And that should have freed up light tanks to go into the Alpine units. And hopefully these Alpine units will not completely suck. That fighting strength penalty from not having tanks is ridiculous. I don't want to lose them because they're so experienced. Although you do get experience really, really quickly. Will I try out Total War mod at some point? Maybe. At the moment my schedule's pretty full with other stuff though. Alright, for the time being I'm just going to remove the tanks from the Alpine. We'll add them later on when I actually have a surplus, which we will get because those L3 tanks are really cheap, and that has immediately improved your strength. So much so that I think I can now go click and have you attack stuff. Oh yeah! Time to get some of that experience. Is this a new Italy game? It is, yes. And look at that, they're all planning's gone already. And we can build some more ships. Now I think what I want to do is start building some of the Septembrinis. And then that Litoro can get done. And then once that's done, we'll get another Septembrini going. And then that should be a pretty good output for our ships for a little bit of time to come now. Don't need nearly as much steel. And we can also massively reduce the amount of coal and stuff we're buying. I can bring in a new material designer. We probably do want to do that. And you know what? Artillery might be the thing we do this time. Last time we got Beretta just so we could pump out more troops. But this time I think we're going to be actually focusing more on an artillery support game. So maybe getting Breda would be good. Alksoft wants me to drink some tea. I think I can do that. Ah, I can army reform again. And I can also get rid of those terrible banks, and I think I should probably do that first. Army reform. And then reform the banks. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, wait, no, shoot, I did that too early. I'm going to waste 3% of the sensitive economy. That might be okay. Wasn't there a focus somewhere which increased that? Yeah, here it is. Hydropower, 35 days. Gets me 2 more steel mills. Do it. Not the most efficient, but it's fine. Field hospital. We have a 100% advantage now. It will take me most of a year to research, so it'll be March 38. Is that worth it? No, let's wait until 38 and then we'll drop the thing on that. In the meantime, let's go and get the synthetics, because this is a really expensive technology actually. So having the 100% boost on the synthetics would be really helpful. Don't need efficiency, we're only going up against the likes of the US, the USSR, the UK, France, etc. Minor powers. Nothing to worry about. Well, so long as Germany actually, you know, builds tanks this time, we might be alright. Big if, though. Now, did we just finish the second Littorio? We did, because I noticed that all of these just went skyrocketing. So we are now self-sufficient in terms of chromium and steel production. Heck yeah, that's going to save us a bunch of factories. Awesome. In fact, we're actually going to make even more steel after this. Although we probably don't want to. Because that's going to force me to import other resources. Alright, I should stop somebody moving. I think probably the boats. Get back to port and then I can get some oil back. Currently consuming 1.4 thousand. Well, once hydropower is done, we'll start doing the oil upgrades in Libya. There's the hydropower. Let's go and prospect for some oil. Old empires always fear new ones on the rise, and we should not depend on them. We cannot rely on oil from other nations, and we should focus our efforts on finding our own source within the empire. This is how we will make sure to stay competitive into the future. And just because I'm a little bit worried about how little fuel my frontline troops are going to get right now, we're just going to stop everyone training. Leadership purges in the Soviet Union. Uncertainty has long reigned in the Soviet Union. While details are scarce, there's been a series of secret trials at the highest level, and both generals and ministers have disappeared from the public eye. The natural assumption is that some great conspiracy has been uncovered within the Communist Party, but no official statement has been made. In addition, the diplomatic reports we have access to indicate the evidence presented in these trials has been far from indisputable. Going to try and punch through in both of these locations more or less at the same time if I can. Send you some reinforcements. There we go. Hindenburg disaster. The German passenger airship Hindenburg was destroyed today while attempting to dock at the Lakehurst Naval Air Station in the United States. For reasons not yet determined, the airship was engulfed in flames and crashed to the ground, claiming 35 lives. Due to the scarcity and expense of helium, the US ban on exporting it, the Hindenburg, like all German passenger airships, was ultimately engineered to use hydrogen, which provides greater lift but is also flammable. The British government has announced the 12th Imperial Conference. For the next 2 months, representatives from the British government and the Dominions will gather in London to discuss matters that concern the entire empire. We don't need a rocket scientist. We probably do want an artillery designer, but that might not be important right now. Wondering if there's anything else I could be spending political power on. Like Mucky for the extra fighter upgrades. And we probably do want to start looking at fighter upgrades. Or propaganda, so we can start getting some more war support. Because war support right now is ticking down. So yeah, let's get some small-scale propaganda just to stop that. Is this a restart? From the previous series? Yes. Because Germany had a bug where AI were told not to build tanks. Which, as bugs go, a little bit problematic. Alright, we're making a huge amount of steel, so I'm kind of okay with turning a factory or two off. In fact, I might even want to do that manually. Let's close a steel mill. Heck, we could even close aluminium smelters. Too many. And there we go. Don't need to buy as much coal, and in fact, self-sufficient. Without building any infrastructure or anything. 1937. There are a couple of technologies around that I would like to get. Not least an upgraded artillery piece. Is there an upgraded tank in 37? No, not until 39. Yay, Italy! Whoa, super elite already. All 4 units. And then we have the infantry divisions, which I think we probably do want to switch out the light infantry for the regular infantry. Yeah, it's going to make these guys slow moving, but they kind of already are. And I think I also want to have line anti-tank in these divisions. Oh my gosh, your support divisions are terrible too. Let's make these light infantry again, because I'm realizing that I don't have nearly enough heavy equipment for light infantry. Which would suggest I need to make rather more of it. And I think we can probably also say, you know what, I want some more artillery and let's put some anti-air into these divisions. We're really going to double down with the support. We're going to go with a 40 combat width. 40 seems a bit high. No, let's not do a 40. This game's in 30s, isn't it? Yes. So what we really want is for these divisions to be 30 combat width, anti-tank, anti-air, another artillery. These things are going to hit really hard against infantry. They're going to have decent piercing, hopefully enough to take on a Matilda. We're going to go with the horse-drawn field hospital. We're going to go with support heavy anti-air. We're going to go with support heavy artillery. And then probably armoured recon. But right now I can't afford that. So this is going to give me a better idea of what we're really short in. And our organization's going to be quite poor, but that's why we're doing infantry tech right now. If you don't mind me asking, what is the principal difference between light and heavy infantry in this mod? That is an excellent question, which I do not know how to answer yet. Let's have a look. Infantry. Light infantry. Soft attack of 2, defense of 8, breakthrough of 3.4, movement of 4. Regular infantry is slower, movement of 3. Now we can see the difference at a glance. So light infantry is faster. They have significantly less defense and attack. Breakthrough is only half difference. Supply use is a little different. Regular infantry have more hit points and more organization, but heavy infantry require heavy equipment, which light infantry do not require at all. So it's basically the difference on whether they have support equipment or not. Not support equipment, heavy equipment. So, yeah, we definitely want to ramp up the production of those. And it is roughly 2 to 1, 50 to 100. And then that's not what I meant to do. We wanted to see if we could switch out a light infantry for an infantry. And still have the equipment around. We do. That sounds good to me. Because eventually I would like them all to be heavy infantry. And then the colonial divisions, these guys can be the lights. And I'm even tempted to give them a unit of artillery and a unit of anti-tank. With support anti-air. Maybe. Maybe. Although this is going to be quite expensive in artillery costs. If I build a lot of these. Or we don't give them any support and then they move really fast. And we give them support artillery, support anti-tank, support anti-air. Not the heavy variants, just the regular ones. That's probably better. I think this is what we want our colonial divisions to look like with another light infantry. Gets you to 14, it's close enough. There. Okay. Did I see that right? Heavy infantry gets a plus 30% urban combat? I don't know. Do they? Move. Easier way to compare these is actually to hover. So light infantry don't get any... That's not true, they do. 30 defense, 30% urban defense. Regular infantry get 30% urban defense. No, 60%. So yes, you're right. Heavy infantry are flipping fantastic in heavy cities. In cities. And now that I know that I may have designed these... No, I haven't. 16's actually pretty on. So now that I know about the difference between the artillery, I might actually want to upgrade them to support heavy artillery as well. And support heavy anti-tank. Oh no, regular anti-tank. There is no heavy anti-tank. Significantly more expensive for an area where they're likely to take a lot of attrition though. Although Mountaineers are only taking 5%. Maybe it's tanks that take 40%? I know somebody does. The famous aviator Amelia Earhart, the first woman to complete a solo flight across the Atlantic, has disappeared along with her navigator Fred Noonan near the Holland Island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, prospecting for oil is done. So now we can do Libyan development and Libyan infrastructure. Or we can work on the home state and get all of these factories, and I think I'd rather just get the raw factory output right now. However, that should have enabled us to work on assuming direct control of the oil fields, and it does. So the assuming full control is exactly the same as what Mexico does, giving all of its oil to Britain. So even though there is a puppet in Libya and in Ethiopia, this gives us all of their oil as opposed to the puppet fraction. And now we are actually generating enough oil. Marco Polo Bridge incident. Japanese and Chinese forces have skirmished inconclusively over the strategic Marco Polo Bridge located just southwest of Beijing. China has rejected Japan's demands for an apology and territorial concessions, claiming instead that the breaking point of Japanese aggression has been reached. Nick Koz, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you joining us. Hey, dogs. And I'm producing excess coal. This is amazing. So those hydro steel mills are actually really good because they're so much more efficient. And I love how these guys have just been consistently attacking. Getting so much experience is great. And there's the synthetic oil experiment, so we could now start building synthetic oil refineries if we so wished. 37, we can upgrade the heavy weapons, which I think we should do. See you, Kerr. There we go. Centres of industry being done. We can now work on the military factories. In order to achieve a capable military, to achieve our territorial ambitions, we have to invest in modernising our military to take on any threat that we come across. And with that... Totally forgotten what I was even looking at. Ah, civilian factories. I wanted to see if the dockyards had finished, because that was going to be in December 38? No, Mediterranean dominance. December 37. Okay, we've still got a while on that one. And this finishes in August, so we might even get another Naval yard after this. We shall see. Okay, several of you have said the music sounds off. Try refreshing the stream. Battle for China begins. Following the Oyama incident, both Japan and China have blamed each other over the escalating and growing tension in China. Negotiations broke down after demands were issued to China to withdraw completely from Shanghai, which were flatly refused. After fighting in Beijing and the Tianjin, Shanghai has now become part of the next battleground in the conflict that erupted into full-scale war. There we go. War in China has begun. And we're going to say, let's go north. And cut off this whole Barcelona region. Okay, fuel supplies are still rising. Now the new mission in Ambanar was going to try to get them to add an artificer-made flying city that uses propellers and Gnomish ingenuity as a mission to create the Gnomish hierarchy. If Elnar gets a non-visual floating castle in their mission tree, being the most magical race, the most tech-savvy should also be able to get artificial flying cities. The fall of Beijing. After weeks of combat, the large-scale military clashes between China and Japan in Beijing and Tianjin have encompassed the entire region, with Japan routing the Chinese further into Hebei. With Japan's absolute naval and air superiority, the Chinese army did not retain cohesion and suffered extreme losses in the cities. With the area now firmly in Japanese hands, many wondered whether it will be enough to prevent a full-scale war erupting. No, I foresee that a full-scale war is about to erupt.